So this is later than I had anticipated, but I had a lot of stuff happen this afternoon. So this is the second part of me reading This Will Hold Substack regarding the 2024 test and some of the weird things that happened with the test. Billionaires and tech giants pulled off the crime of the century. Why? There wasn't just one reason, there were many. EM himself hinted at the stakes. He faced the real possibility of a prison sentence if DT lost. He launched his bid for Twitter at $20 billion over market value, just 49 days after Putin invaded Ukraine. That alone should have raised every red flag. But when the ROI is $15 trillion in mineral rights tied to Ukraine losing the war and geopolitical deals, DT could greenlight it. It wasn't a loss, it was leverage. It's no secret EM was in communication with Putin for over 2 years. He even granted Starlink access to Russian forces. That's not just profiteering, that's treason. Then there's Peter Thiel and the so-called Brawligarchs. They casually joke about humane schmenocide for non-producers and have long viewed democracy as a nuisance, an obstacle to their vision of hyper-capitalism and themselves as the permanent ruling elite. Well, what is the elimination of Medicaid if not humane schmenocide? And does anyone really wonder why his 40-year-old protege and political rookie J.D. Vance is VP? With this technology in place, if the third-term legislation were to pass, it would hand Vance a minimum of 12 years at the helm of Thiel's regime. And of course, DT himself. He spent a year telling his followers he didn't need their tests, and at one point stating, "In 4 years, you don't have to test again. We'll have fixed it so good you're not going to have to test." DT was facing 88 felony indictments. He was desperate to avoid conviction and locked in a decades-long alliance with Vladimir Putin, an alliance that's now impossible to ignore. Look no further than his policy trail. He froze aid to Ukraine and has threatened to place sanctions on them, while planning to lift sanctions off Russia. He openly campaigned for anti-EU candidates and sided with Russia in multiple key United Nations tests related to the Ukraine conflict. Let's be clear, DT pledges allegiance to a red, white, and blue flag. It's just not the American one. We don't need permission to enforce the Constitution, we need courage. While state attorneys general begin their investigations, it only takes one U.S. senator to initiate the disqualification proceedings against the orange one. And then this is just a little list that This Will Hold has on there as far as things that attorney generals can do. So reach out to your attorney general in your state and tell them to do these things. So here we go. Conduct independent audits of UPS firmware on Dominion and the other testing machines. Subpoena communications between Eaton, Palantir, Starlink employees, and ProVNV. Audit Starlink satellite logs for the week of the test. Freeze uncertified infrastructure updates. Recount physical tests by hand. Now they're rolling out the same technological toolkit abroad, forcing countries into Starlink contracts in exchange for tariff relief. So please like, share, comment, repost, get the word out there because we are the only people talking about this and we need to get these small organizations some notice.